Hi, this is Luis Souza from rawveganpower.com, and I'm so proud and glad to have here a wonderful guest, Suzanne Thomas from Be Well with Sue, Inspiring Balance with Practical Raw Foods. Here we are in her blog, and you have lots of wonderful stuff about the raw food diet in her blog. But you can find her as well on Facebook, Self-Love Weight Loss, and she has lots of inspiring images and content here as well. She can be found on YouTube in her channel, Be Well with Sue, and she is the author of a fantastic book, Sproutology, which is a DVD series and an ebook and a membership site as well. And after this little introduction, I will come back here to my face and welcome, Sue Thomas. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's such a joy to be with you, Louis. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you clearly. It's so nice. Thank you.
Great.
Well, first question is of the interview, very basic. Maybe you already answered that question many times, but we would like to know more about you and how you started on a raw vegan diet, please.
Okay, sure. Well, I was very, very fortunate to have been raised by a health-conscious mother who took me completely off milk and all dairy products when I was about 10. So I was vegetarian, vegan throughout most of my childhood. And then it was in 2003 when my mom took me to an uncooking class to further explore her health avenues. And we did it as a mother-daughter adventure. And I was just amazed by the results this woman was having with the raw food. And so I was just introduced to it, luckily by my family. And having always been raised healthy, it just makes sense. And so, I would try it on my body and see the different foods I like and how they made me feel. And that was how I got into it.
It's fantastic, because usually we are the only one in the family to start this diet, right? And you got from your family. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I've read about your transformation in your blog, and I was impressed because you mentioned something very interesting. You mentioned that you lost emotional fat.
Yes.
And then I wanted you to explain more about that, because sometimes we can't lose weight because of emotional traumas or something like that, right?
Absolutely, Louis. So there was a time when I was 30 pounds overweight, even though I had a pretty strict vegetarian diet and ate a lot of raw food. I still found myself overweight. And there is a known hormone called cortisol that is in our bellies and stores fat when we're stressed. And it's literally impossible to have a healthy diet if you're surrounding yourself with bad emotions. And so I was an emotional eater and would suppress my emotions with food. When I had a bad day at school or a bad day at work or a fight with my boyfriend, anything that was upsetting, I would reach for the pita chips. They were vegetarian. They seemed healthy. I was having them with hummus. But I would eat that whole bag of pita chips without even thinking, what am I doing this for? And so by first acknowledging, okay, why am I eating in the first place? And then, is this the healthiest choice? Kale chips were a perfect raw food substitute to help get me over that, oh my gosh, I just want to eat something crunchy, because that's my habit too, my pattern. And so to break that pattern, I call it self-love weight loss. And it's identifying really why you're eating in the first place, and then fueling your body with foods that are going to get the results that you want. So.
Yeah, it's a very important topic in the weight loss that anyone may want to make, right?
Yeah.
And how did you found out about the sprouts and their benefits? Because now you are an authority in this topic, but how did you get that?
Well, back at that in 2003, she taught us how that class that I went to on uncooking at Cedarbrook Homes is the institute here in Auburn, California. Um, they taught us how to do sunflower sprouts, and I love sunflower sprouts. And so from that day on, they planted the seed of anything that is a seed will sprout. And so it just is like, oh, okay, it's not just alfalfa sprouts, it's not just mung bean sprouts. You can also do almonds and sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, and then make your own food. And I also was in a relationship at the time with someone who had studied at Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida, and they were really into sprouting, and so they brought home the pea sprouts and more wheatgrass and sunny greens. And so it just expanded my sprouting portfolio. And I'm a botanist by training. I went to school to study plants. So I have a love of all green things that grow. And just seeing how rewarding it was to actually have my own harvest where I got to eat it. It was, there's no squirrels, there's no slugs, there's, just so much more direct benefit of sprouting at home. And I continued with it and started to just really dive into the subject of like, okay, well, what are, as a scientist too, wanted to research everyone who had published anything on sprouting and learn from their tricks and then compile all that into Sproutology so I could share the joy with the world. And I wanted to create a movement of like, we can empower ourselves to eat healthy. You don't have to rely on anyone else. Roll up your sleeves, dive in, and do it. And it really is easy once you get started. It just takes that initial motivation. I kind of see it a lot like exercise. It's like everyone knows that they should exercise. And, sprouting is the same way. Everyone knows they should eat foods with more live enzymes and lower calories, higher nutrition, less processed foods. But just like exercise, for some reason, getting out the door is the hardest part. The hardest part of sprouting is just soaking, just starting, just doing it and then waiting. So.
And what are the main benefits of sprouting?
Well, the main benefits of sprouting, if you were to pick just 5, is they're a live food. A lot of food can be raw, but it's not actually live. And what that means is that if you take that pea sprout and you plant it outside, it's actually going to grow. And so it has its own enzymes in them. They are an enzyme-rich food, which, comes to the second main point, is they're a pre-digested food. So when something is sprouted, it's gone through the process of germination where that seed that has like everything stored in there starts to get broken down, and that shell comes off, and simple carbohydrates are converted into sugars. The complex proteins are broken into amino acids. So everything is like little building blocks that are perfect for your body to use. So the benefit is they're actually assimilable nutrients. Your body can actually use them. I think another benefit too is that it's so rewarding. To actually be able to grow your own food in 3 days is huge. I mean, it's amazing. Like it really, to have that green blur removed and the fear removed of like, why, I don't know how, and to actually have that. For me, now that I've been doing this for many years, I've got quite a few friends into it. So I'll go traveling and they've got radish sprouts or mung bean sprouts. And so that's another reward too that's contagious. You get your friends into it and then you have good food everywhere you go.
And it's much easier than growing a tree, for instance, right? Because
it is.
When you plant a tree, you need to grow it for many years to have the fruits, really. But with the sprouting, it's very fast.
It's fast. And I guess the best reward that you and your listeners would probably really be interested in, is because we're at Raw Vegan Power here. Everyone knows about eating healthy and gets that food in them. is the cost too. It is so beneficial to grow your own food. You save so much money. For example, if you had a shot of wheatgrass at a local juice bar here in California, it costs about $4, where I can grow that same shot for 30 cents. And the comparisons continue too with like alfalfa sprouts. You know, you buy a little box of alfalfa sprouts for $2. Well, that same $2, you could grow alfalfa sprouts for half of a year. And so it's so cost effective. It is, but it's because you're doing a little bit of legwork. You know, it's kind of like IKEA when you assemble your own, you save money in it, and you get the final product that you want. It's too, like, sometimes it really breaks my heart when I go into grocery stores and you see sprouts, and they're either not fully developed, like yellow, you know, and the chlorophyll's not fully there, or they're already old because no one bought them. And when you grow your own food at home, you get to harvest at the optimal nutrition time and know that you're not cutting yourself short. You know, it's like my uncle says, and he's in Southern California, you can't get an orange like this at the store. They just don't let them ripen that way. And the same as, like, you know, fresh grown tomatoes. Same with your fresh grown alfalfa sprouts. They're ripen, you know, to full potential because you let everything develop and can take that pride in your own food. I love it.
We are talking about sprouting as something new, but I saw in your blog that it's 5,000 years already practiced by the humanity, right? When did it start, and could you tell us something about its history?
Sure, yeah, I would love to. Well, it's been documented for about 5,000 years, mung bean sprouts being eaten in the Oriental cultures. And so they've, you know, loved their mung bean and their kimchi, their fermented foods with high probiotics for a long time. And it's funny because have you ever noticed how the Asians always have really clear skin and are radiant? Even though you can't tell their age, even though you don't know how old they are, you're like, wow, you look good. Well, they have a culture of eating fresh sprouts. I've read too that in some of the ancient pyramids, some of the Egyptians were mummified with a wheat sprout, and that wheat sprout was 5,000 years old. And so it was a testament that they had wheat berries and had sprouted wheat for food way back in those ancient times.
And would you have some tips for someone who would like to start sprouting at home? Or is it easy? How can we do it?
Yeah, I would say, you know, just roll up your sleeves and do it. The 3 basic steps are to soak, rinse, and then rinse again. So, for example, if you were to do like a mung bean sprout, you could go get, you know, organic mung bean sprouts even at the bulk section of the superstore. It's ideal to get them from a sprouting supplier because then you know that they're going to have a higher germination rate. But your first step is to get the seeds. And so then you're going to soak them in 3 times that water. And seeds have a different soak time. Mung beans, I would go overnight for 8 hours. So then once you soak them that 8 hours, they're going to swell and literally double, triple in size. And that's the enzyme inhibitor being released and the seed changing, things going on. So after that 8-hour soak period, you give them a rinse and then come again in 8 hours and rinse them. And in 2 days, you'll see their little tails sprout out and you've started your mung bean sprouts. So it's not bad.
And do you need a special kind of seed, or just have to be a seed? I don't know.
That's a really good question. It's definitely preferable to get seeds from an organic supplier, a sprouting supplier. So, like sproutpeople.com here in the United States is good. I think like Mums in Canada is a good company, and they have certified sprouting seeds. And what that means is that they're proven to be organic, and they're not heat treated, they're not rubbed. Sometimes seeds get like polished to make them pretty, and so then that seed wouldn't work as well. But I personally have gone into the health food store and out of the bulk section got mung bean sprouts that are organic or wheat berry sprouts that are organic and sprouted them, and they did just fine. So it's a personal call, you know, of what's available to you. I think the best thing is just to start small. So start with something that, you can just get a little bit, 4-ounce bag of alfalfa seeds or something, and then you're there.
And how much space do you need? May someone be in an apartment and do it?
Yeah, I've done it out of my truck when I was going camping in the center console of my car. And so, like, you literally do not need that much space at all. Right now in my kitchen, I've got dedicated, probably like a 3-foot area of the counter for it, a dish rack, a normal dish rack, and then all the jars stacked up on there. And then if I wanted to set up some more outside, I would. But right now, that's what I have going.
And basically, you just need the seeds and a little bit of water, right? By what I understood.
Yeah, that's correct. It does not take a bunch of fancy equipment. You could buy all the, automatic waterers and everything, but you really don't need that. What you need is your heart, to want to see it every day and rinse it, and they grow just fine. I mean, seeds are life.
In water, so it's something really, really clean, right? Because you are not handling earth, and it's just water.
Yeah, that's another benefit of the sprouting is they're truly pure food. It doesn't get much more pure and unprocessed because you are just using good, and that's a point too of your water. When you are soaking and rinsing, you want to make sure you're using purified water. So, it's best to not use tap water. And if that's your only option, then you can fill up a pitcher and let that tap water sit overnight, and then the chlorine will evaporate off the top. And that way your water is at least, got less chlorine in it.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And one of the most wanted benefits is that you can get skinny as well, right? Eating sprouts.
Yeah, I've read that sprouts are really good to help you lose weight because of those enzymes. And so it's the book was Gabriel Cousens, and he was talking about how the enzymes are like little scrubbers, and they go around and actually their live enzymes are able to remove and act like little toxic cleanups inside your body. Whereas if you're eating just processed food, or even, some more standard raw food, your body doesn't have those actual live enzymes to go around and be like little scrubbers and cleaners. And so that really helps assimilate and eliminate the excess weight that's been built on.
And then when, let's say, someone is already in a raw vegan diet, okay, making smoothies, juices, salads, I see sprouts in the salad, right? But may you use the sprouts in some other ways?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love them in wraps, too. So you could take, like a collard green and use it as a wrap that way. I have a recipe for a live lentil salad, which is a salad, but the way it's not a green salad, it's more of a I guess like a potato salad would be, a separate type of side. It's its own little hearty thing. And in Sproutology, the ebook, Ken Rolla has a recipe for a sprouted sweet pea soup. That's just delicious. And so he used the sprouts. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's like sweet pea soup, and it's got parsley in it, and it's phenomenal. I've fed it to people who are not vegetarian, and they like it. So.
And I saw in your picture that you really got skinny because you have a flat belly, no fat whatsoever. It's fantastic. And most people want that and never get to it, right? And with sprouting, you can get it. It's fantastic.
But that wasn't my goal either, necessarily just to lose weight. I wanted to feel that alive energy again. And so, it's more about really just feeling 100%. Yeah. Because, for me, remember, I was an emotional eater. So for me, it was like getting over the emotional blocks. And I believe strongly, too, that our food carries an emotion in it. So if you'll ever notice, like, people out who eat a lot of red meat, they tend to be really angry. And I think it's because, the animals died with so much anger inside them. And so when you eat a lot of pure food, you're not having those emotional blockages and triggers come in with them. You're more easily able to process your own stuff. So I think that sprouting had a huge impact with that too, is that it just allowed me to think more clearly, be more in connection with my own authentic spirit. And then that's where the weight just started to drop off. I can't say it's 100% the sprouts as much as I'd love to.
What would be a day in your diet? What do you practice daily? How do you, how many fruits do you eat? How many sprouts and so on?
Well, it's every day is really different. I really love eating local and in season. So, that right there is going to break it up all year. I eat a lot of wild food too. So, like right now, we've got the miner's lettuce going. The mulberries are just about to go. But so I'll start the day with a superfood smoothie and usually have it about 50% of food that I've grown myself. So whether that be a green sprout, like a pea sprout, or alfalfa sprout, whatever I have around, or red chard too, collard greens. Start the day with a good smoothie. And then around lunch, have a salad. And then evening, I eat light, but I eat cooked food too. So I'll have something cooked usually in the evening, maybe like a stir fry of some type, or a warm soup. I listen to my body, so what I feel like, and every day is so different.
Okay, now let's talk about your superpowers. Well, Superman, you like that, right?
Yeah, superpowers.
Yeah, your superpowers. Superman has the power to fly, right? So what kind of superpower does being a raw vegan give you? In one sentence.
Yeah. I think it's given me the power of acceptance. In that not everyone is on this same path that we are. And by being able to accept who I am and the food that I put in my body, I'm not dogmatic anymore. When I started this journey 10 years ago, I used to have all my, friends think I was like on the soapbox of like, okay, we're tired of hearing about all that. And so that's part of the reason I started my blog too. So then I could just journal and have my creative outsource there. Just accept where everyone is on their own path. It's different. And that's okay. We all have free choices. So, and that's allowed me to have a real sense of peace and connection. It's just to understand that it's all right. We just have to accept what is.
The power of acceptance. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. It was a great pleasure, and I hope we see each other often because I love all your stuff.
Yeah. And, before we sign off.
Yes, please tell.
I do have something special for your listeners at Raw Vegan Power. Fantastic. I'd like to. Yeah, I think that it's time to really share the power of sprouting with as many people as possible. And so from now up until Earth Day, I'm going to give everyone who's listening and wants a chance 50% off, which means you can get into the whole membership site for half off. And so if people are interested in that, go to www.sproutology.com/raw vegan power. And you'll see a place where you can sign up and join the sprouting fun.
Thank you so much for this discount. So it's fantastic. I'm sure people will love it. I will love it.
And it's great. Yeah.
Okay, so, well, so you who are watching this video now, go now to sproutology.com and pick your copy of Sue's book, and you will be able to join the community of Sproutology. Thank you, Sue, again. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.